The following day, I got there 7 o'clock. Then he looked at me and said, "You are 1 microsecond late." I was...
Microsecond?
Yes, it was like, "You are 1 microsecond." I'm like, how am I 1 microsecond late? How? It was like, oh, debunk. Then it starts... Another day, on a Sunday, and like, I had to sweep the room, and this guy made me sweep from like 7 o'clock till 12.
Like they say, I walk into the jeweler around me. That stone better not look cloudy. Everything set or the men get rowdy.
Welcome back to Chop It Up, the podcast where this is a cultural platform where we explore the lives of individuals who are creating a life for themselves, whether that's through culture, creativity, entrepreneurship, style, travel. We let them tell their stories their own selves. And today we have a very, 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 very special guest, Mr. AfricanZo, as he calls himself. He is a multifaceted, multi-talented, magnificent maven. He is undiluted Yoruba boy, as he calls himself. He's the vibe guru, and he's one of the only people that I know personally that always speaks positivity on the city of Edmonton. And he's also my bestie, so this episode is going to be a little different, and there's going to be some more interaction, some more engagement so that you all can know me as well. So welcome to the show, Mr. AfricanZo.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. What an introduction. What an introduction. But yeah, thank you for having me. It's
So how is your day going so far?
My day has been good. Woke up pretty much with like a work going on last night. So yeah,
Yes.
so far so good.
So I feel like you're still on a high, and I mean a high as in you've had a lot of projects and things going on. Can you let the people know, last weekend was a pretty big weekend for you and you're booked and busy. So what happened, what's been going on, and what can we expect from you soon?
AfricanZo has been out and about. It's been a very busy year. Right, from February, March, April, Asake's concerts.
Now, let's talk about Asake's concerts. Because I think if you did not go, you literally missed out.
You did, absolutely.
You missed out, and you brought the energy. You brought the vibes. You were the hype man. How was that experience? Because I even saw a video of you, giving some praise and worship while Asake was singing. What was that experience like, being around him, like everything?
Asake is one of my favorite artists, to be honest. And when I finally got the gig to host the concert, it was more like a dream come true. Aside from the fact that it was an arena, and it was the first time I was like doing an arena gig.
Rogers Place,
yeah. Right? Then the fact that Asake is one of my favorite Nigerian artists. It was an experience for me. It was a whole different stage, a whole different experience. The energy was different. The atmosphere was different. And then after I finished, my segment and Asake had to perform, and then it was serene. Like listening to an artist that basically does a song more in Yoruba come out from that loud speaker and the whole sound. It was magnificent, right? And it felt like heaven.
It did, because if you listen to his music, like I felt like I was listening to a Fuji artist the whole time. Because everything that I heard and felt, and I think a lot of people were skeptical, is this thing gonna work? How's it? But like I don't think people understand the magnitude of having an African artist in an arena.
People don't.
And it's not only about the artist per se, but it's about everybody around. So somebody like you who's an MC and a hype man. It's about the dancers that dance Afro dances. In what spaces? And years ago, nobody thought we would see us in such a stadium, So it's a big moment for all of us. And then, you were hanging out with Mr. Money with the Vibes.
Mr. Money with the Vibes.
So you guys went out after. What was that experience like? You were literally like... with him like buddy.
To be honest, big shout out to the entire team that brought Asake to Edmonton. It was something different. The fact that it was the whole concert itself was led, developed, planned, executed by Africans, right? Nigerians, right? And the fact that we had so many people come out for the culture was amazing. Big shout out to the entire team that brought Asake to Edmonton. To be honest, it took months and months and months of planning and promotion. Right? There were a lot of says that it's going to get cancelled, it's just going to go through, blah blah. But at the end of the day, it did happen, and everybody had fun. And then standing beside Mr. Money, hey, please. It's one of those memories that if you ask me like my top 5 memories, right, in my career, I think that will be like top 3 out of top 5, right? Literally standing on the same stage with him and getting out after the after party. It was very amazing. Mr. Money with the vibes.
And how was the vibe, the connection? Because you both speak the same language.
Oh yeah.
Like I think that even brings a deeper bond. How was that like?
So right from the airport, when we picked him up, I actually spoke Yoruba.
Okay.
Like I think I said something like, I can't remember what I said, but it was along the line like, Mr. Money, Asake, welcome to Edmonton, something like that, right? But that was definitely one weekend I feel like I go back to be honest, because yeah,
and I think Edmonton is I think now there's more eyes in Edmonton, especially because of this, because we had people from the UK, we had people from Europe, all over the world that came that are Africans, and they kind of were scoping like, okay, Canada, wait, what do you guys have going on here when it comes to Afrobeats? And I think in the near future, there's going to be a lot more events, a lot more festivals, because they know that, okay, well, Edmonton specifically and Toronto and other parts have the capability and have people that are able to come to these events. And that, because I feel like Canada wasn't really on the radar, especially Edmonton. I think Toronto is always on the radar, but Edmonton was like, Edmonton, but now people are seeing Edmonton in a different light.
To be honest, Edmonton has always been one city that the Afrobeat culture has not always been there, right? It's just growing, right? Compared to Toronto. Now with Edmonton, people are beginning to see that with the right team, with the right promotion, you can actually get the Africans in Edmonton to come out, right? And it's been like that since last year or since after COVID, right? Last year, a lot of parties were being done, a lot of African parties were being done outside, right? Sort of like outdoor venues, right? And people were coming out every single week. People were like, okay, we never knew Edmonton was this late, right? Then Burna Boy came. It was packed. It sold out Edmonton. Then this year, Asake came. Boom. The old Just place was also packed, right? So I feel like people are now beginning to know that Edmonton is that city that it needs the vibe. It needs the right vibe to actually bring people out. And with the right energy, right promotion, and with the right resources, people are definitely going to come. And the Afrobeat culture in Edmonton, everyone should listen. It's a culture that it's growing, and by the time it's done, everyone will be surprised.
Yeah. And even there was a video I saw of 2 members, I want to say in Parliament, but in Canadian government. They were talking about Burna Boy. And they're like, yeah, Burna Boy heard of, like, they were like hyping Burna Boy up. So I think the eyes are different now. And I think people are exposed more to African cultures more than they have before. And that connection of, these people are here, and it's more like, I love this music. I don't know what exactly they're saying, but it grabs me.
I feel like that's basically thanks to the Afrobeat DJs we basically have in Canada, right? I don't know if I'm allowed to mention names, but
you can mention a few.
From Toronto, we have people like Fusi Hype in Toronto, that is really pushing the Afrobeat culture, that is really pushing the Afrobeat narrative in Toronto. Fusi Hype, whenever there's an artist coming, it basically buys jersey and make sure like people sign the jersey and then gives the jersey to the artist, right? Then in Edmonton, we have the likes of Delicious, we have the likes of Don Inns, we have the likes of Queen Lo, we have the likes of Onta. In Calgary, we have the likes of DJP, we have the likes of Freddie,
Bangers,
Ivan, La Connectional, that these people that are pushing the Afrobeat culture, pushing the Mapiano culture, pushing that narrative of, look, we are here as Africans, and either you like it or not, you are going to catch that vibe.
And we're here to stay.
And we are here to stay, right? So
Yeah. So we're going to get into our little chop choices. So it's basically kind of a this or that. So I ask you a few this or that, and you kind of tell me which one you prefer and why. So the first one is egusi soup or efo riro.
Ooh, there. Egusi with Ferrero. Egusi with Ferrero. I think I'll pick egusi soup.
Yeah, I know you were gonna pick egusi.
Egusi soup. No, I feel like egusi soup is one of those soup that, you know, you can't cheat on egusi soup. You know, it goes to anything. Poundo, eba. I mean, except amala. Please don't mention semo. But yeah, egusi.
Okay. Djembe drum or talking drum?
Ooh.
And I know you play both, so this one is a...
It's... So because I'm Nigerian and because I'm Yoruba, I'll pick talking drum.
Yes. Just because it's rooted in you.
It's rooted, and talking drum speaks to me, right? Talking drum speaks.
Yeah, let people know how. Because if for those who don't know, can you explain the talking drum instrument?
Yeah.
A little bit.
So the talking drum instrument is an hourglass shaped drum, right? It basically functions when you squeeze and release, right? So when you squeeze the strings, it gives you a different tone. There is a do, re, and a mi in talking drum. So when you squeeze, so the harder you squeeze, the thinner the voice goes. The more you release it, the deeper it comes out, right? And talking drum has always been one of those instruments that it's deeply rooted into the Nigerian culture, into the African culture in particular, right? Because it's not just used by Nigerians, it's used by Senegalese, I think it's also used by Ghanaians, right? So it's usually used to evoke spirits, right? In the old, usually used to evoke spirits. They used to talk to each other. I've been to places where they literally communicate with talking drum, right? So talking drum is one of the instruments that when it's in a band, you will know. The vibe will be very different, right? So I feel like for me, that's what makes talking drum stand out and unique. It gives you that vibe and it basically communicates and speaks to you.
Okay. Next is, would you rather MC or hype a festival or a concert, and why? I mean, obviously you do both, but I'm not going to say which one is easier, but which would you prefer?
Which would I rather? I think I would rather MC. Damn. Let me see from my experience. I think I would rather MC a concert. Festivals are a very big stage, right?
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to MC a concert, but it takes even more to MC a festival. Because festivals, people already come in pumped, right? Especially if you're on the second day or the third day, or you're in the middle of a session, right? People are already pumped, people are already hyper, and the crowd is usually a lot, man. It's just more like an open stage concept, right? So you basically have to fly from one point to the other, right? But for concerts are usually, depending on the concert, if it's more like the Asake's concert, right? You don't really have that much of a big space to cover. You could basically just run back and forth, right? But for me, I think I'll pick concerts. Okay.
And the next one is Chapman or Pine Wine. And am I saying it right, Chapman?
Chapman.
Okay, Chapman.
Oh, Pine Wine.
Yeah.
Please. Please.
I think they're both not comparable, but in this case.
Pine Wine in its own, it's sort of different category.
Yes.
Pine Wine is... It's that elderly drink.
Hey.
That you drink that just makes you feel, yes, I am relaxed. It makes, there's just another palm wine,
yeah.
From the smell itself, or from when they start pouring it, that white, the way it just comes out, yes, this is it. And it tastes so good. Have you tried it before?
Yeah, I've had palm wine
countless times.
I feel like the Chapman I have had was not correct, so I have to go back and get a better one, and I have to go to Lagos and have authentic wine.
You should visit Lagos.
We'll talk about that another day.
You should visit Lagos.
Hey, we know that day is gonna come. Don't worry, it's already set in stone. Don't worry, it's gonna happen.
We'll kidnap you to Lagos.
Okay, and the next one is, Correct me if I'm wrong. Owambe.
Owambe.
Wa.
Be.
Be.
Owambe.
Owambe.
That's it. Correct.
Or Owambe party, or Nollywood movies marathon.
Please, Owambe party. Hey, please. Hey, Owambe party. Hey, please.
Can you explain to the people that may not be Nigerian and may not know what that is? Kind of how it's connected to Yoruba culture and why it's like so present to you.
So Owambe loosely translates, like if you had to translate Owambe loosely, then it would be, it is there. Right? So basically, there's a saying in Yoruba, not in Yoruba, there's a saying in Nigeria that the Yoruba people will throw a party to celebrate the success of a party. Right? So there's always a party in Lagos.
Yeah.
There's always someone doing wedding. There's always someone doing birthday. There's always someone doing something. And that term, the party is what's called Owambe. By the way, please, an Owambe is not complete without the Yoruba delicacy.
Okay.
You
Name
see?
them. Let the people know.
Begiri. So begiri is basically...
Jute leaves. No, begiri is the beans one, yeah?
Begiri is beans.
Okay,
It's the blended
beans.
beans made with red oil
Yeah.
and everything. So usually it's begiri, ewedu, and amala.
Ewedu. Okay, I just want to make... Okay, ewedu is the jute leaves.
leaf, yep.
Yes. And then amala is the yam.
Yam.
Okay.
So there's begiri, amala, and ewedu. Then there's jollof rice. Then there is the egusi. Then now in Lagos, people now begin to serve gari and groundnut with sugar.
Okay.
Right. So, but then you see Owambe, the thing about Owambe is you can't go to an Owambe hungry or sad and come back the same way. It's not possible. Because you see, one way or the other, the music will speak to you. If the music doesn't speak to you, the food will speak to you. If the food doesn't speak to you, the people around there will speak to you. If the people around there don't speak to you, and the thing is, you will always see our Yoruba aunties every single time, and they will always be that. And I feel like what makes Owambe unique is the vibe that comes with it, and the fact that Yoruba people just love to party. We're a very happy people. We're a very happy culture. We just want to enjoy it. We don't have time for problem. I want just to wake up, party, enjoy. Then after that party to celebrate the success of the party, basically. But yeah, Owambe over Nollywood movie.
Me, I'm a
marathon.
Nollywood stand, okay? Me and Nollywood.
So you watch Nollywood marathon?
Oh, I love
over
Nollywood.
Owambe.
Nollywood, I feel like has molded me.
Hi.
Like Nollywood, me and Nollywood, we're locked in.
Hi.
You know what's funny? The scariest movie, and everybody on Twitter, TikTok, West African has said this. Even people who are not West African, is I think it's Billionaires.
Billionaires.
That movie.
Can I?
It was like a movie where this guy wants to get rich, so he goes to these men. That movie scared me.
You see, to be honest, growing up in Nollywood movies, growing up, especially those of, the one of Kanayo, Piezoko, all those, please, those movies are scary. One of the most scary Nollywood movies I've watched has to be Diamond Ring. Diamond Ring, where they basically had to, a woman died and they basically had to go and steal the ring from the coffin. And then the woman's spirit was disturbing them everywhere.
No, okay, that's scary. But the billionaire one, I'm not going to say this. There's a certain scene that if you saw, and I think I was like 10. That scene scarred me for life. Like, I was so scared. I couldn't even sleep for like days. Like, when people say scary movie, I don't watch like American scary movies. I only watch like 90% of the content I watch is Nigerian content. Whether it's TV shows, movies, music, 90% African. But that movie, even if you go and read about it, if anybody who has watched Billionaires knows, it scars you for life. But there's a lot of great movies, great shows out there.
You should watch is it bondage? No. Living in Bondage. Watch Living in Bondage.
Hey.
Watch the part one that was made like I think it was made in the early 2000s or late 90s. Watch it, then watch the one that was also released on Netflix recently as of last year. You should watch Living in Bondage.
Okay. I'll look it up.
That movie is scary.
I'll look it up for looking up sake, but thanks for the heads up. Okay, so next we're going to get in our proverb picks.
Ooh.
So traditionally, I have every guest that comes on here, I find a proverb specific for their culture, sometimes even deep down to their ethnic group. So I'm going to read your proverb in English and you're going to translate it into Yoruba. And then you're going to tell me what you think it means to me, to you.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. So this Yoruba proverb says, a piece of gold that will be good must pass through the fire.
Huh. So that translates to...
Say it in Yoruba.
In Yoruba.
Yeah, you have to say. Remember,
Okay,
you said you can say it in Yoruba.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, because my Yoruba talent. So basically it means Wura tomada o malano koja. Yeah, let me say that again. Wura tomada o malano koja. So Wura is gold, Ino is fire. Okay. Right. So it basically means, I feel like to me, it basically means like there is no success without a process. Right. For every success you see, or for every success story, there is a process that people don't see that is behind it, right? And for every how do I put this? For every finished product, there is a process, there is a production line that has gone through. That's basically what Wura Tomada Ala Nokoja
means.
That's basically what it means.
Okay, great insight. Thank you for sharing. I don't know if you remember the one I sent you to say for me.
Something.
Okay, I'll read it to you.
Something chameleon.
Okay, so it says through. I'm not gonna read in Ewe. I'm sorry, people. I tried and practiced at home with my father.
See.
And I didn't want to embarrass myself on air.
We have to like take you to Ghana, make you learn these languages.
I have to go to Togo and Benin to learn it.
Togo
But anyway,
and Benin, all of them.
Okay. It says, though the earth is solid, the chameleon makes cautious steps on it.
Yep.
So give us some wisdom on that, and then I'll throw it back to myself.
Now this is where I bring the elderly, the wisdom of the elders. I invoke the spirit of the elders to give. Please give me that.
Give it to you again?
Yes, let me think. I forgot.
Okay. Though the earth is solid,
Yeah.
the chameleon makes cautious steps on it.
So to me, I feel like what it basically means is, damn. I feel like what it basically means is, no matter how sure you are of something, or no matter how 100% sure you are, you have to be careful.
Okay.
Right. I mean, I don't know what it really means, but I feel like if I'm to dissect it, with my spiritual insights, I feel like that is basically what it means.
So what I kind of got from it is be mindful of people who speak big words but do little. And watch carefully of like any utterances in your life, and like how a chameleon moves, it threads carefully, thread in that way. So now you're off to think.
Now I have to think about that very well. That's so deep.
That is deep.
That
See,
is so deep.
This is why I like this, because I think proverbs are important. I feel like are being like in the diaspora, you don't really hear proverbs being used. But like even when I asked my parents about this one, they said that this is something they heard as children. Like my grandfather, my dad's side, would say it all the time to them. So like those things are ingrained. But until I asked my parents, I wouldn't have known.
I know the funniest thing is, not insult to Gen Zs, but you see, you people need to get your proverbs together. Because tell me why. Literally, right? So the thing is, growing up, I see a lot of proverbs. Yeah. I see a lot of Yoruba proverbs, right? From my parents, from my grandmom, from basically people around me, right? And these days, because we're in the diaspora, right, you barely hear those proverbs anymore, right? And I know that while I was growing up also, I think when I took my literature class, I can't remember, I was basically taught proverbs and idiomatic expressions, right? So we really, really need to get that proverb back built into these Gen Z children. Yeah. They have to learn.
Yes, I think that's why it's important to highlight. And African proverbs, there's not only African proverbs, there's proverbs from almost every other culture on earth. So and they can always be translated any different ways, and you always learn something from them. So it's a great way, I think, to like continuously grow the culture and like have those consistent reminders. Yes. So we're gonna get to know you a little bit more. So, what was your childhood like? What was Matthew doing as a young bud in Lagos?
So I was born in Okoko Michael, Lagos. I wouldn't say the year, but
It's okay.
but then moved to Aja, sometimes early 2000s. Then so I've basically spent my entire life in Lagos.
But what was like your energy like? What was your character like? What are things that your maybe family or friends or people who remember you as a child will say?
I was a stubborn child. I was stubborn. See, if you put me somewhere and tell me to sit down there, best believe it, you not meet me the way you come back. I would have gone somewhere else. I remember that while growing up, I would literally like my mom being like, stay inside the house, blah blah blah. Before she comes back, I'm literally outside playing football with the entire community. And these people, they are older than me, older than me, right? So, growing up, I was always involved with music. I was always involved with drums, right? And because I grew up, I did specifically grow up around the church, but I was always frequenting the church because my church to my house back then wasn't that far. So I was always frequenting the church. And I remember that I did see a picture one time when I was about 3, 4. My legs were not touching the drum pedals, but I was basically like just on the seat with just drumsticks in my hand, right? And I feel like I've been playing drums since I knew my left from my right. And I feel like the fact that I grew up around the church setting made me appreciate music, made me appreciate drums. And while then going into primary school, I was involved a lot with activities, right? Going from drama to music, to being in the school choir, to being in the school band, being on the assembly band, right? And secondary school to the same thing. And then I switched secondary school. I remember that on my graduation day, when I was leaving the school, they made me play the drum.
Okay.
Yeah, so from then into university. But yeah, I've basically been around music, and my parents were always playing. So my parents were always playing Yinka Ifele while we were growing up, right? And that was also one thing that made me also love talking drum, because Yinka Ifele uses talking drum a lot, right? So that was also one thing that actually made me also love talking drum.
Okay. So what are some things that you did in your childhood that you no longer do anymore? But they brought you joy?
Oof. I feel like one of the things that actually really brought me joy while I was a kid was the fact that I could just basically go on the streets and play street football. Right. Now, there's a difference between playing street football and playing on the grass.
Tell us the difference.
Please. The difference is you are playing with your barefoot on the sand, right? And there's this small post, we call it monkey post. I don't know what Oyibo people call it, but in Nigeria and on the street, we call it monkey post. It is basically as I think something like this, right? Then it's just like 5 foot, right? So we usually play on the sand. And because I was the youngest then, they usually put me in the goalpost, right? And yeah, so doing that, playing the sands, even while the rain is falling, we are still playing the sand. I feel like I actually miss doing that. And the fact that I think when I was younger, I was more carefree. I didn't really care. I mean, not like I care anyways, but when I was much more younger, I didn't really care. There was no problem. There was no paying bills. And that made me very happy. Now I'm paying bills every day.
That's all we can do. So I know that you spent a lot of time in boarding school, right?
Yeah, I did.
So what was that, for those who haven't been to boarding school, what was that experience? Like, I know it's a long experience because there's so many different things and there's so many different aspects, headmaster, this and that. There's so many different tiers.
Yes.
So just in a short way, just talk about like your boarding school experience. Was it positive? Was it negative? Were you like the person that everybody would come to, or you like, let us know.
So boarding school experience. I was very stubborn in boarding school. I was a very naughty student. I was one of the few people. Hey God, I'm not proud to say this, but I'm one of the very few people that didn't have notes in class.
Oh, you didn't have notes.
And I remember that one of I think when I was in GS1 or GS2, my principal, my vice principal, Mr. Akindele, I cannot forget that man. This was when I was still in Citizens College. The man made me stay outside under the sun and made me copy the entire semester notes. Yes. Every single day.
Was it like on paper or was it the
paper.
board?
No, on paper. So I was basically like copying like I think I was thinking about 14 subjects, and I basically had to copy the entire note within like 2 weeks, morning, afternoon, night. Like everyone inside the class, I'm on the sun writing, and nobody could help me.
Was the notes like assignments that you had to hand in, or was it just notes for notes?
It was just like general notes.
But like, were you able? Maybe you were like a person who can learn without writing notes. That's what I'm trying to think.
No. For the thing, just so the thing is, while growing up, I had this misconception that because I've always had this in my mind that I wanted to like go into entertainment and events, right? And I had this misconception that I did not need school, right? So I did not really take school serious, right? So me, to be honest, I felt like it didn't make any sense. I was just younger, and I was just younger and naive, right? So I didn't really take school serious. I was not really taking my classes serious. I basically didn't understand the gravity to like basically going into uni, right? So, but you see, boarding school,
Too many memories.
You see, boarding school, you will meet different people. I had so many friends in boarding school. My class, I had a particular guy called Ogaga.
Yaga?
Ogaga,
Okay.
yeah. Ogaga in secondary school. And now the secondary school I attended, the boarding school did not allow phones.
Okay.
Right? And for some reason, they would like the semester would always seize phone from Ogaga every single week. Right? And it was so stubborn. I said I was stubborn, but Ogaga was even worse. Right? And the set I was, our seniors didn't like us. Because we always look at our seniors. We always fight with our seniors every single time. But I feel like one memory of boarding school that we always owed dear is the fact that everything was programmed. We had to wake up 5 o'clock, get ready before 6, have breakfast by 7, assembly by 8, class starts by 9, midday snacks by 12, lunch by 2 o'clock, siesta by 3 o'clock, prep by afternoon prep by 4 o'clock, then dinner by 6, then night prep by 7, then light out by 9. Right? So that was Monday to Friday. Saturday schedule was a little bit different. We wake up around 6, right? Then labor is basically cutting grass. Aye.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, you had duties and things you had to do daily.
Yes, I did.
You people have suffered.
As a matter of fact, I suffered. No. Secondary school, before I became a senior, I suffered because there was a particular senior. If not because right now my heart is pure and I'm forgiving old things. Old things are passed away and I new man.
Amen.
You know, I did not like this senior for anything. I did not like. I will withhold his name.
Okay. No.
Just so that his enemies not catch him. But so the thing is, I was a room sweeper, right? And I was supposed to be in his room by 7, right? Is it 6 or 7? But I was supposed to be in the room around 6. I think 6 or 7 o'clock, one of the two.
AM.
Yeah, AM to start sweeping, right? So there was this very day. I got the very first day I had to. I got there around 7. Like immediately, no, I got there around 7:05. He said I was late. Then he whipped me with a belt.
Ooh.
Yep. Then it's like, oh, I can't be late. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, yes, I'll not be late again. I'm sorry. The following day, I got there 7 o'clock. Then he looked at me and said, "You are 1 microsecond late." I was
microsecond.
Yes, it was like, "You are 1 microsecond." I'm like, how am I 1 microsecond late? How? It was like, oh, debunk. Then it starts. Hey. Another day, on a Sunday, and like I had to sweep the room, and this guy made me sweep from like 7 o'clock till 12.
And the broom is the
Yes.
Is it that one? The one you put on the floor? The one that
the broom,
the sticks and hey, and then your back is just.
So but basically, I had to keep sweeping. I remember that day my breakfast. This guy ate my breakfast. Yes. Everybody went to chapel. Me, I was sweeping. I swept that day. He said, so the reason why I did that was because I swept. He came, he's like, oh, I can see dust on the ground. I'm like, dust. On which ground? He was like, you have to sweep so there's no more dust on this ground. And believe me, I swept from like 7, 8 o'clock till like 12. So that was basically from before breakfast till end of chapel. Right. And I think what made him not to like me was because my school mother at the time, he liked my school mother at the time.
But
but my school mother didn't like him.
Okay, but school mother, is it like an authority figure?
So basically,
or is she like one of the girls also on the?
Oh no, so for us, right?
Yeah.
School mother, I don't know the other boarding schools were.
Yeah.
But school mother for my school was basically a senior that's above you.
Oh, okay. So he was a senior above, and then
yeah.
So because he liked her, she didn't like him.
So he liked her, but the girl didn't like him. So he took that out on me.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know. Thank you. So there was I think when I figured out the problem was there was this day she called me to the kiosk, right? Her name is Anki. I love her. She's a darling. She invited me to the kiosk and she's like, "Oh, Matthew, what do you want? Pick whatever you want, right?" So I picked everything I wanted. She paid. Now this guy was sitting by his window
and watching.
And the window was like literally facing the camera. It was watching. As the girl turned back, and as I was coming, he just called me, and everyone. So the boys were still like, they all come. My son named Sumola. He said, "Sumola, come here." I knew that was it. He took the entire snacks, and it's like, he looked at me. He's like, I feel like beating you today. Yep, no play. He said, I feel like beating you today. And next time, it was like, oh, the bunk, and he kept whipping me. Bro, this guy kept whipping me for minutes. He's like, now I'm tired, I need to rest. He's like, now I'm recharged, oh, the bunk.
Everything you're saying, I think there needs to be a support group for those who went to boarding school in
To be honest, they need to.
Because the things you guys have gone through.
I suffered.
You've suffered.
I suffered. Like, I was solo in secondary school.
Yeah.
And that was because, one, I wasn't eating meat, I wasn't eating fish. Not that I can't eat it, but because there'll be one thing that they'll always tell you, I'm taking your meat for the entire semester. Yep. And that's when they will tell you, I'm taking your fish for the entire semester. Some people will tell you, so the thing is, on Sundays, they give us jollof rice and meat. Some Sundays tell you, your jollof rice throughout the semester. No, they will tell you, your Sunday rice throughout the semester, I'm taking everything. And I promise you can't see anything. Right? You can't even report to the semester. Because even when you report and the person gets suspended, they leave, then the entire class of that person faces you. And that is, if they do that, you are done.
So I feel like Canada was Canada a way of escaping that?
Because, to be honest, I mean, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, but I didn't really do boarding school in Canada, right? So
yeah.
I don't know what the boarding school here is.
But I mean, coming to Canada must have been like, let's get into you leaving Nigeria, coming to Canada. Did you want to come to Canada, or like, what was that like?
Funny thing is, I didn't know I was coming to Canada. That's the funniest thing.
You didn't know? Okay.
I wrote my jam. I wrote WAEC. I wrote NECO.
Which are like exams.
Yeah, so these are like exams to get into university.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, right? So I wrote all the exams. As a matter of fact, I wrote the university exam I wanted to go into. It's called Post-Jam, and it was Boy University. I wrote that exam, and I passed, right? And they gave me, was it media or journalism? I can't remember. But at this point, I didn't even know I was going to Canada. Right? Until one day, my dad was like, oh, you have to go do medicals. I'm like, medicals for what? They're like, it's not just... And then I was young, so like I couldn't ask too much questions. I mean, because that was my first travel experience, so I had no idea what they were doing.
Yeah.
Until one day, boom, I was supposed to resume to school. I think I was supposed to resume around September. I was supposed to resume.
Yeah.
Then my dad was like, oh, you can't resume yet. There's no money. One thing, you have to wait. I'm like, Daddy, everybody has gone to school. Me, I need to resume. And the thing is, people I wrote exam with then, they had already resumed to Bowen. Right? So I kept waiting. Daddy, I want to go to school. I want to go to school. And everything. And the funniest thing is, during the whole process, right, I actually followed the entire process of getting to uni. I opened an account, a student account that the university asked me to open, right? So I'm like, what's going on? Why am I not going to school? Why am I still at home? September, October, November, I'm still at home. December, boom, all of a sudden, my dad was like, you're traveling. They told me a week before that I was traveling.
Wow.
I was shocked.
And the fact that Canada is so cold and December is like the worst time.
And it was Edmonton. It was Edmonton. This was in 2013.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, traveling. And all of a sudden, boom, I needed to leave urgently. Like my friends, I did not say goodbye to anybody. I didn't say, only one person I was traveling. And that was my ex then. You know?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know why I had ex when I was very young. I honestly don't know why I had ex then. But yes, my ex then. And I remember that day we did hang out. The dad was traveling. That was how crazy. Like the dad was traveling was the day I hanged out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I specifically going to Canada 2013, December 31st.
And it's like right on New Year's.
Oh yeah, I remember what happened. I remember very well that as I stepped out, like so the thing is when I'm quickly to pick him by the airport at Edmonton Airport. Was it Edmonton Airport? Yeah, Edmonton Airport. I stepped out, then I ran back inside.
Don't kill me.
I cannot forget that experience.
Yeah.
It was cold. And you know the thing is, the jacket I wore wasn't jacketing.
Well, because you just came.
Exactly. And most of the jacket most of the clothes were bought in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And Nigeria's weather is not like Canada. Right? And then there's no jackpot syndrome like this. So I'm like, hey. My uncle was like, blah, blah, blah. So we need to go back into the airport to try to look for a jacket to buy.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm like, there is no way I am stepping out of this place with this coat. Never.
Yeah.
And I think the first food I ate, I can remember, the first food I ate stepping to Canada was stir fry and white rice, chicken stir fry and white rice.
How was that?
My uncle's wife made it. It was amazing. I'm like, oh, okay, this tastes different. This is like, bougie.
So you came to Canada, stir fry. What was that experience like as an international student? And how many years were you in Edmonton?
2013, 2014, 2015. Yeah.
So 3.5-ish?
3.5-ish? Yeah.
Okay. So what was that process like as an international student here?
As an international student in Edmonton, cultural shock.
What were those cultural shocks?
It was plenty. The English was number one. The English?
What about the English?
Traveling to Canada, was actually my first time traveling ever.
Oh, okay.
Right? And part of the cultural shock I had was the English, number one. Number two, flying on a plane for the first time.
Long flight too.
Yeah. And number three, leaving Nigeria for the first time ever.
And because you weren't like mentally ready.
I wasn't mentally ready.
Yeah, because you were told just a week
behind.
behind.
Like, you understand? So like everything was like, everything was all of a sudden.
And you were really young too coming.
I was really young. I think I was like... I say this,
you don't need to say it. You don't need to say it.
Yeah, so but I was pretty young. I was under 18 when I moved. So it was like I was shocked, right? So I came. I didn't have any friends. Just my uncle's place where I was staying, and the whole food was strange. By the way, the first time I had burger, I was like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Why is there meat in the middle of bread?" It doesn't make any sense. I'm like, why is there meat? I question. I'm like, Uncle, why is there meat in the middle of bread? Why? Why is there leaf meat? Like, it just doesn't make, like, it's supposed to be separate. Bread is supposed to be eaten with butter, bama, tea. Why am I eating bread and meat? It doesn't make sense. Well, I don't understand, right? So, but then there was that. Then I remember very well that before I resumed to Makewan, my uncle actually did take me from, we had to take the bus. It was Southside, Wendame.
Okay.
We had to take the bus from downtown from Southside to Central Park. Took the train from Central Park. So it basically showed me the entire way. So the following day, so I took the train like twice. I did myself like twice. Yeah. Then straight up the following week, boom. I remember the first time I missed my bus. Hey, Jesus is Lord.
And it was cold.
It was cold. And I wasn't properly dressed.
Yeah.
I didn't have muffler. I didn't have anything. then I think when I realized the Canadian culture was a welcoming culture, I was at the bus stop. This was still when I was still new, right?
Yeah.
I was at the bus stop and I was freezing. Then a particular that was at the bus stop, she had an extra muffler and she gave it to me. Right? She's like, oh, okay, now you have a muffler, you're pretty cold. Wrap it around your neck. And she was like, since my face was special, like wrap it around your neck and wrap it around your face so you feel warm. I actually kept that muffler. I actually used that muffler till I left. Right? So, yeah. Then Makewan, I was involved a bit with Makewan Student Association, right? And I did Black History Month.
Yeah.
I played the djembe at Black History Month for 2014, 2015. The same thing, 2015, myself and some friends organized African Unite, Edmonton, 2015. And yeah.
So after leaving Edmonton, you went to Cyprus.
And that was where the fun began.
And like what? Why Cyprus? What made you think of going to Cyprus? And what was that experience like? Because you do speak Turkish, you had to learn the language.
Yep.
It was a different place. Because you transitioned from Nigeria to Edmonton, and then from Edmonton to Cyprus. So give us a rundown.
So Cyprus was under cultural shock because the language was a big problem at first, right? So I specifically moved to North Cyprus. Yeah, so it basically, some people know it as TRNC, Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus.
You spent 7 years there, right? Is it 7?
2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 6.
6 years. So that's a lot. What was that experience? Like, let us know some of the culture shocks. Let us know how you found community, because when you would FaceTime me while you were there, I saw that you still were able to maintain community with fellow Nigerians. So just kind of give us a little bit into that.
So when I moved to Cyprus for 2016, I moved February, actually. No, I got to Cyprus February 2016. I was shocked. From the airport, I was shocked. Because, I had done my research first before going, but I was still shocked. Because I was expecting, so I remember when I typed Cyprus on Google, it showed me the south side. Right. Now the south side looks like, this glamorous. Oh, no, actually, no, it's actually like budget UK. Right?
Okay.
Then the north part is like advanced Lagos. Right. So I was shocked pretty much when I got there. It was different from what I expected. But then and I got to Cyprus. I remember very well that I actually arrived at night. Okay. So I didn't really see what the entire place felt like. But then, I read at the dormitory. Then the following day, when I woke up and went, that was where the shock started. I started hearing language I've known my entire life. Everyone speaks Turkish, even in the school. The security, the caterers, basically everyone speaks Turkish, right? So I was like, hey, Jesus. And then that's when Google Translate became my best friend. So I basically started using Google Translator, and I would basically ask Merababi, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Then I would ask, they'll be like, oh, English? No. English? No, no English, no English. I have to basically bring up my Google Translate. I translated it. Then I traveled to Nigeria so I was in Cyprus 2016 February.
Yeah.
I traveled to Nigeria the same year,
Okay.
2016 June. Then I got back. Then I joined. Now the thing is, my first semester, I've always been kind of person that I'm outgoing. I like making friends. I make friends easily. So my first semester, I was already out there. Not as AfricanZo, but as Matthew.
Yeah.
Right. I was already out there, bubbling, to the point that I even got nominated for Freshers Award of the Year.
I remember. You got many more nominations after that.
And the funniest thing is, usually that nomination goes to second semester students. The fact that I got the first semester, everyone was shocked. Like, how is he nominated for? How? But then, everyone already, I was everyone on the campus, and I was this person that once I was in campus, once I'm in class, I was in class.
So you studied law there, right? Did you want to study law, or was there a desire for it?
Hey.
Because you studied law, and then Cyprus is what led you to becoming a hype man, right? And MCing. So obviously things was going on. What was happening?
So to be factual, when I moved to Cyprus in 2016, I actually started doing public relations,
Okay.
political science and public relations.
Okay.
Now I don't think my parents knew this, but what made me run from public relations and political science then was economics.
Okay.
Economics and calculus. I did not like that
okay.
subject. Economics, calculus, and I think statistics. You see, anything that has to do with me doing 1 + 1, 2 + 2, 2 × 2, divide the x. I am not a fan. I don't like stressing myself. Right? So I'm like, nope, I'm not doing this. I'm like, you know what? My dad has always wanted me to study law. So let me just do it. So, and that was why I said initially I didn't really take school serious because I feel like I did not need it. Right? But to be honest, when I got to uni, I'm like, you know what? I actually don't need this. Like aside from, because I started seeing actors and actresses in Nigeria that basically graduated from school and are still doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? And before moving to Cyprus, I had a very long discussion with my dad. And he explained, it's like, look, even though you want to become an entertainer, whatever I feel like you want to become, you still need to go to school.
Yeah.
You still need education. It's not a scam. Don't let anybody deceive that education is a scam. It's not a scam. You have to get education, right? And I'm like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I think I will study law. Then while I was studying law, I started studying law in 2017. While I was studying law, I joined the Multicultural Center, MCC, on school campus as a volunteer, right? In 2016, before I started studying law, I was a volunteer. Then 2017, I became head of volunteer, right? Then I started doing tours, like tours for new students, taking them to places on the island. Then 2018, I became the assistant event coordinator. Right, so we usually plan events, African Night, Spring Festival, International Night, Eurasian Night. Then I became the event coordinator.
Okay, so would you say working on those events, being an event coordinator, when did the action of MCing and hype men kind of come in?
Woo! That would be 2020. When was COVID?
2020.
Yep, that was when it came. 2020.
So y'all were outside in Cyprus?
Okay, so the thing is, before 2020, actually, my school usually throw parties, right?
Okay.
And while it's going on, I feel like this is too boring. I'll just jump in front, start yelling, I'll just say I didn't know what I was doing then. I'll just take my job saying, yeah, everybody put your hands up. Like, things like I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what MCing was. I didn't know what hype man was. I was just doing it, right? Then, shout out to Frankie. There's a guy called Frankie Culture, right, in Cyprus. Yeah, and Frankie was like, this guy, you do have the energy of an hype man. I'm like, wait, what? What is that? What is a hype man? It's like, okay, an hype man is a person that basically hypes up the crowd, pre-party, and during the party probably like makes the crowd already jumping and bubbling. I'm like, well, I don't know. That's why I don't know what that is. I've never done it before. It's like, that's what you've been doing. I never get it. I'm like, well, I don't know, right? So, 2020, before COVID hit, in January, I traveled to Turkey, right? So Frankie was like, oh, yo, AfricanZo. So at this point, I already had him AfricanZo, but I didn't have it for an hype man. I basically just had it for my Instagram. That whole AfricanZo is a different story. So I went to Turkey. Then Frankie was like, oh, well, AfricanZo. I have, he said Matthew. Then the cousin was like, oh, Matthew, I have this show coming up. One of my artists, Nita, is having an album launch, and I want you to MC hype, MC/hype the event. I'm like, this thing you're asking to, I've not done before. I was like, don't worry, you're natural. You'll be okay. You get it. And truly, boom, I came out from Turkey. The flyer got ready. The flyer got ready, and boom, the event happened. And everybody started, who is this guy? What. So it was good, right? Then I'm like, okay, And I just I was broke. I was flat as broke.
Yeah.
Right. So and I started reaching out to a club in Cyprus. I'm like, oh, I'm an hype man. One thing. Then a club in Cyprus called Cloud9.
Yeah.
Right. They were like, okay, you know what? If you say you're this good, come over to the club. Right. When you get there, we'll see what you can do. And if we like you, we're going to retain you. Right. So I remember that the show was Ladies' Night, Color Pop Ladies' Night, right? And it was organized by one guy called Skills, right? So we went. I got there. It was out of town. It was in Lefkosia. I lived in Guinea. It was in Lefkosia. So I got there. I was on the mic. To be honest, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just having fun. I was just partying like every other person. I just and just saying stuff on the mic. While I was MCing, Skills told his PA, was his PA? His manager, I don't know what exactly the person was. He told us like, go and meet him, get his number, get his account details, get everything about him. It's going to be happening for us from today onwards.
Okay, so that was kind of like the beginning of your career, but I feel like you've always had this hyping in you. But for the people that don't understand since you do both, hype man and MC, and also hosting and all of these things, can you give us a difference between the hype man and MC and why it's important that even if there's an MC, a hype man is present?
Now, people usually mix up hype man duties and MC duties, most especially in weddings.
Okay.
Right? An MC is basically the person that it's not his job to hype up the crowd. He goes in, he follows the program, right? It's just, calm, collected, chilled, and everything, right? Then the hype man, his job is to come and make everyone dance and have a good time, right? Now, not every MC can be a hype man.
And not every
hype man can be MC.
Okay.
Now, some people can do both.
Like you.
Thank you. Right. So I've been to weddings where they're like, oh, we need you to MC. No, we need you to hype the wedding. I'm like, do you need to hype the wedding or do you need to MC the wedding or do you need to do both? Right. And so people be like, oh, AfricanZo, come and MC at the club tomorrow. I'm like, am I MCing your club or am I hyping your club? Which one? Yeah. So MCing is basically, I won't say the formal part, but MCing is that starter that you serve at the beginning of the food. Then hype man is like the main dish that comes in.
Okay. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
What you mean, yeah. Okay. So let's go back. Let's talk about our friendship. Woo! So we've been besties since 2020. Is it 2013? We met
2014.
Is it 20? Okay. Let people know how we met. Because I feel like there might be two different stories.
Oh no, not two different stories. I think it's one story. It's 2014, front of residence.
Yes, I remember that.
Front of residence.
I was with Bolu.
Yeah, you were coming out. I was with Victor.
Okay.
You were coming out. We were going in.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, blah, 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 blah. I can't remember what happened there.
Yeah, I remember you were all like, and me and Bolu were like, hi.
But I think Victor knew Bolu.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Victor knew Bolu.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so I think it was saying
I didn't know anybody.
Yeah, so I was like, you were like, your name is Kafu. I'm like, Kafu.
What kind of name?
I'm like, what? I was like, I'll just call you Kafi.
Yeah, you did, yes.
You're like, oh, okay, that sounds good. And I didn't get your number immediately.
No,
I think it took you a while before I got your number.
But I remember later, okay, the pivotal moment I remember other than that one was,
African Night.
Yes. So I think somebody invited me and shout out, I think his name is Mega. He was like, go and dance whilst you were doing your...
While I was drumming.
And I'll post the iconic picture up so people can see it. So he was like, go and join him. I was like, This is when I was an extrovert. So I just went and danced. And then that was it. I think
that was how we clicked.
Yeah, that was it.
See, the power of talking drums. So I told you.
That is so true.
So I think that was how we clicked. And since then, it's been amazing.
It has been.
After I left, moved to Cyprus.
Yeah, we still kept in touch. I think it's because you're good at keeping in touch. But then it also pushed me to learn how to keep in touch better. Because it was like, sometimes we don't talk, but we'll like catch up Like, hey, how are you doing? What's
Even
good?
today, so like once like we don't talk every single
Yeah.
time. But that one time that we decide to talk is like 1 hour, 2 hour
and
call.
you've called me in Cyprus and all your friends in the background. Hey.
Yes. Funny thing is, one of them recently, I think it was 2 weeks ago, is like, oh, our friend. The X was like, so one of your biggest fans is DJ X, is in Cyprus.
Oh, shout out
It's
to
like,
DJ X.
oh, our friend. And I'm like, bro.
So would you say we can both answer, like, our friendship has evolved over the years? Because it was long distance for a period of time, and now you're back. Maybe I'm gonna go, you're gonna go, but life is life. So what would you say is like the dynamic at the moment?
To be honest, I feel like our friendship is, for me, it has basically been built on communication, trust, and the fact that we both know what we like and what we don't like, right?
I think it's also respect for each other.
And respect for each other, right? Like, you'll see people that are friends insult each other. I don't think we've ever had a fight.
No, because I'm scared to fight with you.
We've never had a fight. We've never had a disagreement.
I mean, even if we did, we would just talk
basically
about
just
it.
talk
we'll just be honest, like, yo,
like real
what is
quick,
this?
right?
What's going
So,
on? And like, we're honest with each other. We don't hide things.
It's just basically the fact that we both respect each other, fight never, and we call out each other's BS. Yeah, we call each other's
like if
BS
there's something,
sometime.
you'll be like, Lemona, okay.
I'll be like, Lemona Alpha.
Or I'll be like,
what are you doing?
Matthew, this thing, no, I don't agree. So there's been, I feel like the number one discourse or conversation on social media is, can a guy and a girl be friends? People love to talk about it to the ends of the earth.
I have waited for the discussion because I
think it depends on the people. I think if one party is a certain type of way, and it can lead to like, just because honestly, I've seen some things on TikTok or whatever. See, some of you besties are messy.
See, to be honest, I feel like at this point, and some people have to describe what best friend is.
Yeah.
Like, you have to actually, because tell me why you have a best friend and you having something together, like, why?
Or it's like, just like certain things you'll see and you're like,
And I remember that I remember that for a very long time when I tell someone like, oh, I want to be like, oh, my best friend is a female. They always be like, oh, how you best friend is a female because I'm not doing it together. I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, please, there are boundaries. And again, that's
Exactly.
one thing we about each other, boundaries.
I think it's self-respect. Like, we have a lot of things in common, but we don't cross certain things. And we've had conversations about like, okay, if this person's in a relationship, we know like, I'm not going to be calling you at 12 a.m. I'm not going to impose on your life as much. Like, we know we're going to gauge each other. Like, and like, I would hope in the future, like, you and my husband become best friends too, because that connection is close. And that the main thing is that if you can have a platonic friendship with somebody, I think your partner should be able to trust that you know you're not going to be out here doing something. But some of these besties and the stuff I do, I just
See, that is Jesus. Because I'm not lying to you, like, I've seen best friends, they would like, oh, we're best friends.
It's almost
one
like
thing,
a relationship.
But
like an actual like boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, and I remember very well, even as I recent, when I showed, I'm like, oh yeah, I do have a best friend, but it's a female best friend. Like, AfricanZo, you have a female best friend. And nothing has happened. I'd be like, nothing. I'm like, as a matter of fact, I'm like, look, I feel like we haven't gotten to a part where we both know that, look, self-respect is what we both want for each other. And we both know that, look, nothing of
Fishy.
that nature or fishy can go down to the point that even when we have our partners, I have my own girlfriend, you have your own boyfriend.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to trust us that, okay, nothing is going to go on between these two people.
And they'll be able to like be around us. Like we can all hang out together.
And
it won't
things.
be like,
But
and I know that like when you potentially get married and everything, like that will become your best friend.
Potentially get married. What do you mean?
Well, it's putting
When
in
I
the
get married.
Okay, sorry. Speaking in positivity, speaking in the light. But when you do get married, like that's going to become your best friend because that's going to be a different type of relationship.
Yep.
And the relationship will not be the same with me and you, but it's still somebody I'll call, I'll hang out, I'll even call her. Like, obviously, sometimes partners are weary about that, like my best friend. But if they're around us enough and know us, they'll know, oh, okay, like.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Hey, gosh.
So the thing is, Not a question.
Okay.
Right? But just a notice. Quick notice so that everybody can hear.
Ay.
On my wedding day,
Yeah.
you put on trousers.
Which one is trousers?
You put on shirt and you put on a suit. And you put on the best man.
Oh, I know. But I know I'm going to be wearing Agbada.
Yes, you will.
Of course
Yes, exactly. There you go.
We've been talking about, and you said you would buy the party favors for my wedding.
Yes.
Yeah, so we've locked in all of this. This thing has been locked in.
No, I just remind you.
You don't need to remind me when I've been saying Lagos, Lagos way for how long? We know that when we are going to Lagos. There's no ifs, buts, and
I'm not in Canada. No, I can't be the wedding Canada, please.
Is it Lagos?
You just be Lagos.
We are coming with all the USDs.
Full Owambe.
Exactly. We know. But yeah, I think relationship, communication, being able to know how each other moves and works. There's not everything we tell each other. Sometimes we may tell, sometimes we may not. But we just know who we are in ourselves. We have self-trust. And even since you've been back, there's things I've learned about you. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't know he was like that.
He's grown.
Okay, so let us, say nice things to each other, like what we appreciate about each other. I will start because I feel like you've been talking a lot.
Please, can I get I'm about to cry.
So, there's a lot of things I appreciate about you. I remember COVID, was it 2021 when you surprised, or 2022, when you surprised me when I was working?
2021.
Yeah, and I didn't know you were coming. I think you texted me, and I didn't even know you were in the city. This man blocked me on everything known to man. And then was I think you asked where I work, and then you showed up, and I was like, what?
You shocked
I was like, huh? So that was a great moment. And I think with you, you have the faith that you have, I wish I had. Because just like before when you were saying you're speaking things into right now in existence, I wish I had that. Because the time that last year there was this event and I didn't even have faith I was going to get a ticket for it because I missed the deadline for the ticket. And I posted the thing, I got a ticket, but I didn't have any faith. I was like, I'm not going to get it. And I was like, hey. And then when I told you about it later, you were like, yeah, I'll get a ticket. And I was like,
you're like, ticket is sold out.
I was like, the tickets are sold out. How? You're like, no, I'm a child of God. I'll get the ticket. And then you got
a ticket.
I was like, bro, this type of faith. And the thing I respect about you is you don't play with your church. If night visual every Friday, he's 10 p.m., he's going for night visual. Sunday morning, 7 a.m., you're there. You're praising, you're singing, you're playing the drums. You're very multifaceted and you can do a lot of things. And a lot of people don't know that.
Oh.
So yes, that's my flowers to you.
Okay, nah, I'm not about to tear up. No, absolutely not. Thank you.
Of course.
So what I do appreciate about you is your genuinity. Is that English? Your genuine?
Genuinity. Hey, please.
Yeah, Jesus.
English is not English.
But yes, please. Let me
Genuineness.
Let me just say a genuine. I beg. Let us not use English too. But yes, I like the fact that you're genuine.
Yeah.
You're an amazing person. You're this kind of person who I feel like I'm glad I have you in my life, right? There are some points or there have been points where I have almost gone left, and you've stretched me, you have kept me back on the right path. And the fact that I met you, I've known you for 10 years since 2014.
Yeah,
and we've always respected each other. The fact that you've always respected me basically gives me that confidence that look, yes, this is my best friend and nothing can happen, right? And I appreciate your creativity. You're multi-talented, and the fact that I don't think most people know this about you, that you do videography, you do
small.
you do videography, you take pictures. You're a dancer. That one we have to work on that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another day.
I don't think most people have actually seen you as Cafe. I think most people just see, in quotes, Cafe. the sense that they don't really know you for who you are.
Yeah.
They just know they just not like person they see outside. Like most people don't know that you're a very strong lady, you're a very strong woman. Yeah, basically the definition of what I would say.
Hey.
If I was to pick a lady that would be like, oh, I feel like you carry characteristics, will probably be Michelle Obama.
Oh, all the African aunties are happy. That is who we look up to.
It's probably Michelle Obama. So yeah, keep being yourself.
Makes me feel good.
Keep being the sweet person you are. Keep being amazing.
Thank you.
And
See?
yeah, that's all the news with. Yes,
Thank
you can never catch you being sweet like that. Yoruba demon. Nope.
Not Yoruba demon. Okay, so you get to ask me one question just because of time. So please be cautious of this question. Oh God. I'm really nervous about what he's going to ask
aunties,
me.
are you ready for this question?
Oh no.
Our aunties watching.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Now I'll throw this question. Okay, now I know. The question I was going to ask, I'm not going to. I will. So the thing is, I'm putting this question here so that you can tell the entire world.
Not live. Oh gosh, no.
Why exactly have you decided?
Decided.
No, I mean not decided, but why exactly did you put your dance on the side?
Oh, why did I? Okay, that's a good question. Yeah, I was very nervous.
One sec, sorry to cut short. For people who don't know, she used to be a dancer and she used to be part of a dance group.
Many.
Yes. She used to be not just one, dance groups.
Yeah.
And one of the dance groups she used to be part of Sange.
Yeah.
So yes, why? What made you leave dancing?
Good question. Lack of support from community made me leave dancing. I think it was lack of confidence as well. I think the main thing was that I felt like I was supporting others in the city in what they were doing, like hardcore. I'm showing up at their stuff. I'm there. But when it came to me, crickets. So I just took a step back and was like, well, what do you want to do? But it's always a first love. It's something that I want to develop again in the future. Maybe I'll just be a praise dancer. I don't know. And maybe I'll express it in that way. But yeah, that is my reason per se. It's lack of support, lack of me just supporting everybody else, and then crickets when it came to me. But now I don't think about the crickets anymore because I don't need to focus on them. And main thing I'll say is that with the Asake concert, and I'm friends with, I know 2 of the dancers who danced for them. When I saw them,
you could have been on that stage.
When I saw them,
You could have been on that stage. You could have been on that stage. Continue.
When I saw,
You could have been on that stage. Continue.
so that's when I was like, okay. That's when I texted you I see the vision you've been talking about.
See?
Point blank period.
See that?
So that is the end of our episode today. Can you believe it's done? It's over.
Yeah, and I was nervous.
See? For what? So thank you so much for coming to our show. Can you let us know social media handles, things to expect from you? The whole 9.
So, first and first, I do have my hype concert coming up very soon. So the hype concert is basically a concert to basically show what people to basically show people what hype is about, right? The art of hyping. Some people think it's just going on the mic, yelling, shouting. Yeah, some people even go as far as shouting prerogative words on the mic, right? But hyping is an art, right? It is something that you genuinely have to love doing, right? So I feel like that is what I want to display at the coming concert, the hype concert, and I also want to set a platform for other hype men in the city to also jump on and also know that so that people can yes. Because currently, to be honest, people only think there's only AfricanZo as an hype man in Edmonton. But the truth is there are actually more hype men in Edmonton. There's Risky Hype, there's Blue Baby, there's Traino Drama. All right. So that hype concert, the stage is basically going to be hype men running the show the entire night. And also I'm having an Owambe party.
been talking about this.
Yeah. Finally, I'm having an Owambe party with an artist coming from Nigeria.
Okay.
The Fuji, and not Fuji, like an Owambe artist coming from Nigeria. And yes, please, I beg, push my support me.
Yes, let the people know your social medias where they can reach out and connect with you.
Follow me on Instagram, AfricanZo _ AfricanZo AfricanZo _ Right. You can also follow AfricanZo Entertainment on Instagram. I can also follow the Hype Concert on Instagram. Any inquiries, reach out to me at AfricanZoENT@gmail.com or Matthew Anzi MATHEWANNZY @gmail.com. Ciao.
All right, so this has been another amazing episode of Chop It Up. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot. And next week, we're going to come back with another person who inspires us. So have a great day, evening, night, wherever you are, wherever you're watching from. Bye.
Mic drop.